What is going on?
Someone tried to kill me, Moses.
Dis briljant. Die toekoms van oorlogvoering.
Welcome to Three Chicks in a Pod, where we talk about the latest, greatest, and everything in between. So today I have the pleasure to be talking to Bradley Joshua. Thank you so much for taking the time to talking to Three Chicks in a Pod today.
It's our pleasure. Thank you so much for taking interest in the film. It's great that we're having this discussion, and very, very happy to be talking to you.
So before we even jump into this fantastic new film that launched today, so Bradley, you are the CEO and executive producer of Gambit Films, and then for today's purposes, more importantly, the producer of Indemnity. Now, I've watched the trailer, and wow, it is definitely edge of your seat type of movie. And I have to tell you, it's one of those movies that makes me proud to be South African, but that also makes me sit up again and go, we've actually got so much talent in South Africa. And not just from the actors, but from production, directing, scripts and everything in between. We definitely don't have to stand behind anywhere else, in the world. Can you maybe tell our listeners a little short snippet of what Indemnity is about and what the viewers can expect?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, Indemnity is an action film. It's about a fireman, Theo Abrams, who suffers severe post-traumatic stress disorder because of an incident that happens on the job. He loses two of his people and he suffers severe PTSD. And because of that, they book him off. He's not allowed to work until he goes through this, regime of treatment. But he also has these blackouts and he becomes violent, and it's all the effects of PTSD. He wakes up one morning and his wife is dead next to him, and all the evidence points to him, but he remembers nothing. And at a moment, he decides to go on the run because in his mind, he cannot reconcile that he did this. And he wants to prove his innocence. But in trying to prove his innocence, he also starts to unearth a massive government conspiracy. And it's a lot of mind games and thrilling action and, twists and turns. But effectively, it's a man on the run action film. Theo trying to prove his innocence and trying to find out who's really behind the death of his wife. So it's for us, I think the biggest action film to come out of South Africa just by the number of action sequences in the film. And you mentioned a little bit earlier about just the talent that we have at our disposal, in South Africa. Part of why we started this business more than 10 years ago was actually recognizing that we have the talent, we have the infrastructure, global world-class talent and infrastructure. The only thing that was missing was us telling our own stories and putting it into that. And that's what we set out to do more than 10 years ago. And in actual fact, to be really honest with you, as we sit here today, the journey of Indemnity has been 10 years. From writing the first scripts. It took us a long while to get it financed because I don't think anyone really believed that as South Africans, we could do a great kind of genre film. People like to put you in boxes, that, you're good at dramas, so keep doing dramas, and we were saying, no, we really want to step out and do something much bigger. And so it took a while to convince people, but here we are. We also made this film in the middle of a pandemic. We were shooting for 3 weeks and then we were, yes, exactly. And we were shooting for 3 weeks and then were shut down. And we could only come back like 10 weeks later. So we've been through the most with the film, but here we have a great product that releases today, and really, really wish that all South Africans would go out and watch it in cinemas.
So, as we've mentioned, So the movie launches nationwide today. This morning, first thing when I checked, I went on the internet and I went stirred Kenny Core and I said, I can go watch Indemnity. So, you know, it's there. It's absolutely fantastic. But though, even though it launched today, the movie actually released overseas in February already. What was the thought behind first releasing this film internationally?
Yeah, man, it wasn't supposed to be that way. It is just how the deck of cards fell. This film was supposed to be released in South Africa. I mean, our first dates were like late last year, like late 2021. That was the first date. It kept being shifted because of COVID and the effects of COVID, in that people were not going to the cinema, you know, and so we were trying to figure out, well, what is the ideal moment to release this? Because once you release it, you release it. You can't go back and re-release it.
Wait,
so
I'm taking it back.
That's it. So you have to find, and between us and Filmfinity, the distributor, we were trying to figure out sort of when is the best. Then we had a date supposed to be earlier this year. But then there was a whole lot of Hollywood blockbusters that were kind of coming through, you know, and what we wouldn't want to do was to go up against like a Doctor Strange. We wouldn't want to go up against a Jason Statham film, you know, because, you know, to give the film its best possible, you know, avenue for financial success. So it kept being pushed back. However, in the meantime, we had secured a North American distribution deal. And that kind of like fell into place very, very quickly. And so ideally, it would have been a South African theatrical release first before an American release. But because due to circumstances, due to, you know, the backlash of COVID, you know, our local date kept being shifted, you know, for commercial reasons as well.
So I have to say, you know, all the roundabout and how it's worked out, I mean, the praises from the international media has been nothing short but fantastic. To our viewers, I'm just going to read out two. There were so many reviews that came through for Indemnity. But the New York Times actually said a great deal of fun. Variety said Travis Tarter's debut features impresses with the slick, nimble action sequence. So I'm sure after 10 years and all of that, the reviews that you actually received overseas had to make every single person that worked on this movie walk a little bit taller after that. I mean, you know, for something that didn't work out the way that you guys saying you wanted to, I mean, it was fantastic, the reviews that this movie got.
Yeah, we were very, very, very grateful and thankful that people saw in the film what we intended people to see. You know, this film was really just all about, we really wanted to make a genre film. We wanted people to, you know, we said we're making an action film and we wanted people to recognize it as an action film. And so we're very grateful to have received the responses that we would have hoped to receive, you know. And so it does feel like what we've intended and what we set out to do, it does feel like, you know, it has transpired, even with the limited resources that we have, you know, at our disposal. For a mature market like North America, you know, to give this content positive reviews like that, it really, really does mean a lot to us, because what they are comparing it to is the films that they get to see every day of their lives, the films that the Hollywood studios are making, you know. And so it does make one feel proud, you know, that it can, to a certain degree, stand up against those and to receive positive reviews from like New York Times and LA Times and Variety. These are people that you know, they watch all kinds of content from all over the world. And so it is a great feeling, and kudos to everyone that worked on this film. You know, I always say it took more than 60 very talented individuals, you know, to bring this all together. And as the producers and directors, we are always the ones that get to stand in front and take the credit and take the praise. But you know, kudos to all of those that put their literally blood, sweat and tears into the film. And that's why we do have a good product today.
just a little bit off Indemnity and onto you as a producer. You've said this movie has taken 10 years in the making, and it definitely sounds, it wasn't one idea. It was literally a bunch of people coming together and saying, how can we make the best of this? How do you as a producer decided that this is the movie I actually am going to throw my skills and my company behind? Because I'm sure there's so many movies that actually crosses your desk, and from the start, you know, you never have an idea how that movie will be received at the end.
Yeah. Well, for me, you know, Travis, the writer director, Travis and I, and a few other people, we are all business partners in Gambit Films. And, you know, what we originally set out to do is really, we wanted to make the kinds of films and the kinds of TV series that we love to watch, you know, and Indemnity really is a tribute to kind of like the 90s kind of action films, you know, where we all grew up watching, you know, Enemy of the State, you know, The Fugitive, The Manchurian Candidate, all of those great, like grounded kind of like action films where we grew up, you know, like watching and like, you know, being fanboys about the actors and just the like the action sequences and that. And this was one of those films where we were like, if we could do our own version of what we love to watch, what would that be? You know, and Travis had this concept and, you know, developed it and until it, you know, came to the point where we were like, right, this is it. This is the kind of thing that if we were going to put everything behind it, it's a kind of thing that we know we love. And it's a kind of thing we know people love to watch, you know, in a genre that is very, very popular all over the world. You know, everyone loves an action film. I don't think there is a nation or a people group in the world that can say they don't like an action film, you know. So it's those kinds of elements that you go, well, based on that, you know, firstly, we know it's going to be hard, but it's something that we're going to love doing because we would love to watch it. And also we know from a business point of view, these are the genres that do well sort of commercially around the world. So, you know, it's all of those kinds of things that you think about when you're looking at films and series.
I think that what people will find that makes this movie fantastic is, you know, there's for me, there's two types of action movies. There's the ones that is super unrealistic. We love watching them because there's a lot of action, but you know, we do know, you know, it's unrealistic. But then there's movies like Indemnity definitely falls in that category for me, that it's so realistic. It's real day problems. So it's not only, you know, like you say, a fanboy movie that was made, but it is definitely a movie that touches on a very, very social thing that people might not have an understanding about. And I think that really makes this movie fantastic. And I commend you guys for that, of bringing the realisticness into it and also, you know, putting a light on the subject.
Yeah. No, it is, I feel, very, very relatable. And I think people are going to see characters in the film that is very relatable. Everything is very, very grounded. You know, it's not too far-fetched. Obviously there's fiction in there. But yeah, I think what you're talking about is the elements of post-traumatic stress disorder and PTSD, which is a massive issue in, you know, I think just about every part of the world, you know, and just we know that our police force, our fire departments, you know, they do deal with these things. In fact, when Travis was researching the writing, he spent a lot of time with different firemen and it's real that people, wherever you went, there was a story of PTSD, of people suffering, you know, so it's very, very real. And yes, just dealing with that kind of like initial, like toxic masculinity, where initially Theo is resisting, you know, it's just like, I'm a man and like, you know, why do I have to do this and whatever. And I think, you know, you also see like through all the action, you also see his emotional maturity grow. You know, and I obviously don't want to give away anything, but you do see him grow, and you do see him grow, and you do see him through everything that he has to go through. You know, so yes, you know, we do also have to like use our platform, you know, to shed light on kind of like everyday things. And I think this,
And
you know, PTSD is definitely one of those things that is highlighted in this film.
yeah, no, and I do commend you guys. You really did that very well. So even though we said it launches in South Africa today, it did premiere in South Africa though at the 10th annual kykNET Silwerskermfees, where the film actually received 12 nominations. So even though the overseas market raved so much about Indemnity, I'm sure these nominations were quite important to you guys, to just the element that it's also received with the same praise locally. I mean, where it was made, where what it was intended to.
Yeah. Look, the thing is, yes, definitely. And I think that what is great, it is resonating with audiences, with institutions, with distributors. It is resonating with all of these people worldwide, you know, which we really appreciate, but also really set out to do. You know, the story is kind of universal. It happens to be set in Cape Town, you know, and so I feel like it is relatable to so many people, and yeah, we're very, very grateful for the recognition that it's received, and it is a testament to, I feel like, even if I say so myself, it is a good product. It is a good product. It's great entertainment value. And that is also what we set out to do, is to entertain the public, is to make them feel like if I'm going to the cinema and I'm going to spend $100 on a ticket, I want to be entertained and I want to walk out there having set out to watch an action film, and I feel like I've watched an action film, you know. And that's exactly what this film does. We've obviously had quite a few pre-screenings. We had, like you said, the premiere at the Silwerskermfees. We had another pre-screening last night where we could invite some media and some kind of, like, you know, influencers and people on the ground and so on. And the responses are all the same, which is so great. Like, you know, they firstly are surprised by the level of action, you know, and it's like, wow, you know, as South Africans, we did that, you know, and people go, you know, I don't know why I'm so proud. I'm not connected to the film in any way, but I just feel so proud as a South African that we could do this, you know. And I think that is what I'd like to say to all South Africans, is like, there's a part of this film that belongs to you, you know, and you're going to watch it and you're going to feel proud, and you're not going to know why you feel proud, but it is just great entertainment value. And it's got proper set pieces. It's got great fight sequences. I mean, some of the stuff that we've done, we've got a full body burn. So we've like literally all the fire sequences you see is real fire. So where there's people set alight, we literally set people alight.
Don't try this at home, kids.
Don't try it at home. You know, there's a scene where Jared is, the lead is hanging out of a building that is actually at the 21st floor of a building, which is a record in South Africa. There's no stunts that have been done higher than the 10th floor. So we actually hung him out there. It's not green screen. It's him hanging out of the window. You know, we flipped the car, you know, which is great for us. And the thing is, we only had one vehicle, so we had one take. So it had to be perfect. And this is like, it was like a lot of interesting, fun facts, you know, about the film. You know, Jared did all his own stunts. I mean,
I read that. That is amazing.
We trained him. We had to train him for 3 months. So he had fight training. He had different disciplines of fight training, from Muay Thai to boxing. We had to condition his body. So like gym, you know, also meal plans and eating plans, dietitians, nutritionists, you know, because knowing that he was going to do all his own stunts, it was going to be physically grueling for his body. So we conditioned him for 3 months, which is also unheard of inside of like the South African context of filmmaking. There's never enough budget to do all of these things, you know. But you know, we are grateful that people came along and they said, no, we will do it. Our normal rates is this, but we will do it for this, because I feel like if all the South Africans that have been working in the industry for so long, everyone was just hungry to prove what we can do with a South African story. And I felt that that was a great, so thank you to all, the stunt guys, the SFX guys, the VFX guys, the guys that are working on all these major international movies. And they all came on board and said, guys, we believe in the vision. We believe in what you're trying to achieve with this genre film. We want to be part of it,
Yeah, no, I think people are going to walk out of the cinemas and they're not going to go, oh, I just went to go watch a South African movie. I think they're going to walk out and said, I went to go watch a really brilliant thriller, action movie.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the trailer and people that's going to go view the movie, which is hopefully everyone, it's almost, South Africa has brought out a lot of brilliant movies in the past years, but it's almost like this movie is on a level that South Africa has never seen before. And you've touched it on the action, things where limits were actually pushed where we normally don't do it in South Africa. And I think that is going to be, the big thing that people are going to love about this movie. And that makes me excited to go watch the full movie. I've seen so many teasers. I'm teased out. I need to go watch the movie. But before we touch the last bit of the movie, on you as a producer. So you've produced a critically acclaimed thriller, Nummer 37, and now obviously Indemnity. But you've also produced over 1,500 episodes for television in the last 5 years. I mean, that's absolutely amazing. So what is next for Bradley Joshua? What is next for Gambit Films that we can look, forward to?
Yeah, look, there's a lot on the cards. We've got another series that we're gonna do with Netflix. That's in the works right now. I've got about 5 feature films, 3 of which is a trilogy of films. I'm actually traveling to Cannes next week to go and promote those projects and seek additional finance and so on. And so there's definitely a lot on the cards, and we're hoping to do bigger and better films. Indemnity for me, Blood and Water, these things are all just the beginning. And we're going to definitely continue to raise the bar. We do aim to be global players, in the film and television industry, who just happen to be based in Cape Town. We're not a Cape Town company. We're not a South African company. We are. Our plan is to be global film and TV producers that just happen to be based in Cape Town and happen to be telling African stories. There's a lot, we're also looking beyond the borders of South Africa. We're looking into Africa. Our intention is also, Africa is such an untapped market from a storytelling point of view. And so we are sort of actively looking for stories, for books, in the kind of genre space, whether it's thrillers or action or fantasy or sci-fi. These are the next levels that we want to delve into, and there's a few irons in the fire already. So I think that there's a lot that can be expected from Gambit Films, and we just pray that we will continue to be able to deliver. And the aim is to set the bar higher and higher with every new project.
Well, I have to tell you, if Blood and Water and Indemnity is the tip of the iceberg, we're very, very excited to see what's coming up next. And I'm so thankful for your time today. And after this interview, everyone that's watching, you'll be seeing the trailer. And then please go out, support this movie. You're not going to be disappointed. It's absolutely fantastic. You're going to be, like you've said, and I said before, you're going to walk out and be absolutely proud of this movie. And we just say all the best of luck with the launch that happened today and everything that's on the cards ahead for you. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very, very much for having me. I really enjoyed this discussion. And please, guys, go out and entertain yourself, in cinemas nationwide. Indemnity.
And then please also reach out to us or Indemnity on their social media platforms, YouTube, and let us know what you think about the movie. It's always great to
Absolutely.
know what people, think at the end of the day to build on, for the next project you do. So please reach out to all of us and see you at the movies. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Let's go!
Theo, babe. Better achieving yourself, Theo.
When our units arrived, we found his wife had been murdered. Theo was arrested as the prime suspect, but he has since escaped, killing 4 of our men.
What is going on?
Someone tried to kill me, Moses.
Ik zit met bewijzen van een Moorse government conspiracy. Moord, treason, you name it.
What if together we and others like us can take back this continent?
How?
Al wat ek moet doen is druk hierdie knoppie en jy's geaktiveer. Dis briljant. Die toekoms van oorlogvoering.